right, what's up, True Crime World? You are here with Luminol on the Wall, and I'm Bevy.
And I'm Becky. All right, today's case is about a teenage love triangle.
Oh God.
Bev, you know, as a teenager, what everyone's like. Feelings are big.
Oh yeah.
Love
Everything's the end
interests
of the
are
world.
drama filled and like, if it doesn't work out, it's the end of the world, right?
Totally. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
100%.
So today's case, we're going to dive right into that. But
Oh
before
man.
we do, sister chat.
We haven't caught up in a little bit, so you've just been
And
sending me pictures all week.
yeah, I have.
And like
Bev
houses.
responds, cool,
Yeah. Thumbs up.
nice. Adorable.
Well, what do you want me to say to your like flowers? They're beautiful. They're
Oh my
cool.
God, Becky. Did you make
Wow.
those?
Did you do that in your spare time? How long did that take you? No, I'm like, nice.
Yeah.
Why don't you
Lit
show anyone who's watching us? Show them your flowers.
Okay.
Come on now. You're
Okay,
proud of
let me just
them.
reach for them. Look at these
Look at
cute
those.
things.
Are th
Okay.
they're made
What?
of
Pipe
what are those things? Pipe
cleaners.
cleaners. I knew that because I did zoom in on your picture.
Saw that they're a little fuzzy.
Yes, I did. They're adorable.
They're very soft. Yeah. I like that one.
I like the pink one at the bottom.
That
Yeah.
bad boy. There's
Mm-hmm.
actually one. It's a little hard to see, but like it's different than all the rest. Woo! What?
Which one am I looking at?
The white one. Bev,
Oh
it
yeah,
clearly
yeah.
looks different. God.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
That's where I got like I had already gained some confidence. And I was like,
Okay.
let's try another thing I saw a tutorial on.
What like inclined you to do this?
Oh, I literally just saw a random art project on like Instagram.
Oh,
And I
that's
was like,
cute.
huh, those are pipe cleaners? I was like, oh my God, they look like fuzzy flowers. And then I was like, oh, had a Christmas project that I wanted to do with a bunch of pipe cleaners.
Yeah. Oh, so you had a
So
ton.
yeah, so I just had a bunch at home, but my Christmas project, um, I swore I followed the tutorial like to the T,
Uh-huh.
but it did not look like how it did online.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause like
So
Christmas came and went. I heard nothing about a craft.
yeah, I tried it once and it was a big flop. It looked like shit.
Oh God.
And I was
What was it
devastated.
supposed to be?
Oh, like fuzzy snowflakes.
Oh, I
And I was
see.
gonna
Okay.
like my entrance in my door, like
Yes.
when you
Yeah.
come into the kitchen, it's
Yeah.
like I was wanting to hang all these like fuzzy snowflakes so that when you
Oh,
walk
so
through, you're like,
cute.
ah, snowflakes. But it
So
looked
cute.
like shit. So didn't hang them up, didn't even make enough. And one of them took me like 45 minutes. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that for a
Yeah,
house
like fuck
craft.
that. Fuck that.
No. So, anyways, I had a ridiculous amount of pipe cleaners because, I bought enough for my initial project. Decided to do
Cool.
that with them now.
So nice. Love that
So
for you. They're
that's
adorable.
thanks.
You're a very
Thanks.
crafty individual.
Yeah, that's
You
what I
are.
like to that's what I like to fill my free time with.
Yeah.
I love crafts.
For my 30th birthday, Becky made me these lanterns made of like construction paper, but they're very, very cool. And she like filled my mom's backyard with them.
Hmm.
Um, and it was a vibe and it was so sweet and thoughtful. And now they hang above like your computer area. And it's
Yeah.
super cute. But yeah, like you are very crafty.
Yeah, I
And
just like to do things like
I
that.
love that about you. Truly.
Thanks, Bev. Yeah.
You're
Actually, it
welcome.
was like a big week for just like general crafting and repairs. We both actually
It's Kush. It's obviously Kush.
just making sure it wasn't a ghost because that was like weird.
No, it's definitely Kush. That fucker. That fucker. God damn.
It T minus like 4 seconds till he starts annoying the shit out of us right now.
Oh, 100%. Till he starts like clawing me. You know what's
Yeah.
kind of funny is like obviously, if you haven't noticed, my cat's name is Kush. And so like I was the biggest pothead like as a
Mm-hmm.
teenager. And like, yeah. But what's funny about that is like my son, he okay, I know it's a weird
Yeah.
transition, but like stay with me obviously.
Yeah.
'Cause like I was like one of the biggest potheads like I know. And since have quit obviously because I
Hmm.
had my baby and
Yeah.
a little bit prior to that. Anyways, guess just with age I was like, eh. But my son's due date was April 24th,
Oh.
and my husband kept being like, he's gonna be born on 420. And yeah, then he was. And I was
Then
like,
he
of
was.
course, I would have a son born on 420. Like, how fucked is that? Like,
Yeah. And your cat's name is Kush. Your
yeah,
baby's born on 420. Like,
yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna shut that. I don't know where he is, but like, there we go. All right.
all right. Well,
Well, yeah, exactly. It's a good time to end this. Let's get on with the case, right?
yeah. Bev's,
Okay.
we can recap Bev's life is just the pothead.
Yeah.
Your life is a pothead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's go with it.
All right. So today's case takes us to Summerfield, Florida, in Marion County, a small, quiet community just south of Ocala. The community is known for its active and relaxed lifestyle, and a young man named Seath Jackson was the kind of kid who fit right into that world. Now, Seth was born on February 3rd, 1996, to parents Sonia and Scott Jackson. He was upbeat, funny, and had an easygoing energy that people naturally just gravitated towards. As Seth became a teenager, he developed his own style. He grew out his hair, he wore baggy shirts and pants. And even though this kind of gave off the punk vibe, he was just a really sweet kid. He was caring, and by all accounts, he was loved by the people around him. Now, in 2010, when Seth was just 14 years old, he started dating a girl named Amber Wright. And like a lot of first teenage relationships, it moved fast and it felt intense. Now, Sonia, Seth's mom, she said she liked seeing him happy and described the relationship as puppy love. But as Amber spent more time over at the Jackson family home, Seth's parents started noticing firsthand that Amber seemed rather manipulative with their son. And they were a little concerned with this behavior, but at the end of the day, it's these kids' first major relationship and it's all a learning curve, right?
Yeah, totally. You figure out like how shitty people can be. No, I'm just being a
Yeah.
total pessimist here, but like, yeah.
Or awesome, I guess.
But maybe in this case, not so much. I mean, if I
Yeah.
noticed the girl was being manipulative with my son, I would have a hard time like sitting back and being like, ah, just a learning curve. I might just like sabotage their relationship, maybe.
Beverly, no, you
I
wouldn't.
don't know what I would do.
Oh my
I don't know
God.
what I would do.
Okay, if that ever happens to Colson, can you call me before you decide what you're gonna do first?
Yeah, sure, sure.
I'll be
Get a
like,
voice of
Bevy.
reason.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Do not sabotage your son's
Well,
first relationship.
well, I mean, I don't
Unless it's like
know.
inappropriate, but you know.
I'll just start like telling him, I met this cute girl. I've invited her over. I'm like, Mom.
No, mom, God, I like who I like.
No, I don't know that I would do that. I don't have the cojones to do that. But yeah. I don't know. I'd have a hard time sitting back, but that's what they're doing. They're just gonna trust that they've taught their son well enough
Hmm.
to like figure this one out.
Exactly. So early on in their relationship, they became sexually active. And according to Amber, they also smoked a bunch of weed together and did a little cocaine as well.
Yikes.
Yeah. Now, this young romance burned white hot, but became very toxic after only a couple months. There were constant blowout fights, and instead of keeping those fights private, they started dragging everything onto social media.
Oh
And they,
God.
yeah, they would say horrible things to each other. And then they would break up and then get right back together the next day like nothing ever happened. It was messy. It was dramatic. And unfortunately, this cycle just kept repeating itself over and over again. But then in March of 2011, the breakup finally became permanent. This wasn't just a regular teenage breakup, like, you're such a dick. I hate you. It's over, you know?
Is that what you think a teenage regular breakup is?
Yes.
Like, I just hate you so much. Bye.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what was it
God.
like then? If not
Well,
like that.
it was a little bit more serious of a breakup because Amber had actually cheated on Seth with an 18-year-old guy named Michael Bargo.
Frickin' hell, man.
Yeah, that'll damage a 15-year-old kid, Like, damn. It's
Oh,
too early to get
God.
cheated on.
It's terrible.
Hmm. And what is even worse, Beverly, is at the time, Amber had also accused Seth of sexually assaulting her. Now, this wasn't something that was ever reported to authorities, but she told a couple people in her inner circle who also happened to be friends with Seth.
So is she being honest or is she being manipulative?
That's that's kind of where the issue lies, because you never want to not believe someone if they say this happened to them.
Totally.
But she was known for being a little manipulative, and like they just had a really toxic relationship, so it wouldn't be out of the question that she could have.
Yeah.
But she never went to the authorities, and it's just like not really known. But regardless,
Mm.
she accused Seth of this.
Okay.
And that obviously impacted him greatly because they had similar friends, right? So that
Yeah.
looks really bad on him.
100%. Did he
So
deny the allegations or what?
that's actually a really good question. From what I read, well, I actually didn't read anything from his perspective. Like, did
Dang.
he deny it? His parents didn't really mention it.
Right.
However,
Mm-hmm.
what I can say is that everyone everyone reported him as being a pretty honest, like wholesome guy.
Right.
But
So
I
if
don't
it
know.
did, he'd be like fooling a lot of people, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
for sure. Now, this breakup for Seth wasn't just about losing Amber. He also basically lost one of his best friends. And this was Amber's half brother, Kyle. Him and Seth had been really close. And when Amber and Seth broke up, Kyle had to make a bit of a choice, friend or family.
Yeah, especially with the allegations, right? And the nature of this messy breakup. Like,
Y- yeah,
you don't stay friends with
someone who did
some.
that to your half sister.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So at first, before the allegations came out, Seth and Kyle were still cordial because, you just don't end a friendship because they broke up, right?
Right.
It wasn't their beef. But then when Amber accused Seth of the sexual assault,
Yeah.
Kyle just was like, no, I don't want to be friends with you
No
anymore.
kidding. I wouldn't want to be friends with somebody who sexually assaulted, you know, you or Axel or whatever. That'd be
Yeah,
terrible.
it would be. Now, things really blew up after Kyle saw Seth in bed with his ex-girlfriend. So after the breakup, Seth was mourning that in his own way.
So
And
wait, he was with Kyle's ex-girlfriend.
yes,
Oh,
so
okay.
kind of like bad form on his part, bro code
Yeah.
went against that. So Kyle felt like majorly betrayed. So now you've got this whole group dynamic that is messy and it's getting uglier by the day. So it seems. So, with everything that was going on, Seth was heartbroken and he was actually having a really hard time dealing with the whole breakup. The cheating accusations and the sexual assault allegations were really getting to him. But even though he was hurting, he still wanted to fix things with Amber. But Amber already moved on and was seeing Mike. Now, this relationship was very concerning for many reasons between Amber and Mike. One, being the age difference. Amber was only 15 years old at the time, and Mike was 18. And they were having an intimate relationship, as we know. Second, Mike was exactly the kind of guy that you just don't want your teenage daughter dating. He was the bad boy. You see, Mike had grown up in Michigan and at one point had been a pretty normal, well behaved kid. But over time, his life started to go in a much darker direction. He was eventually diagnosed with ADD. His parents divorced, and he took this all really hard, and he blamed his mother for the divorce. Eventually, his father moved to Florida, and Mike went with him. By that point, he was already going down a less desirable path. He'd been kicked out of public high school for fighting, sent to an alternative school. From there, he eventually landed in juvenile detention. He also had substance abuse issues, and by the time he was 18, he was on probation, enrolled in substance abuse programs, and being forced to attend AA meetings. As he got a little older, he was eventually diagnosed with bipolar disorder and ADHD. So he had a lot going on. And I think for Amber, this macho bad boy persona was thrilling and exciting. And being her new boyfriend, Amber also confided in Mike about her toxic relationship with Seath and that he had assaulted her. And so, right out the gate, Mike hated Seath, which,
Ugh.
okay, sure.
Yeah.
I would hate to see a partner of mine tell me that they were assaulted by their last boyfriend, right?
Oh my God, yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Unfortunately, after Mike and Amber got together, Amber continued to talk to Seath,
Oh
which
my God.
I know. So, which we can imagine only made things worse. And it added a jealous component to this love triangle.
What? Like, why would she continue talking to Seth? Like, I get it. Like, sometimes your first love or first partner, like, it's hard to get over. I get it. But, like, with everything she's saying about him and that he sexually assaulted her, or what have you, like, why would you want to continue talking to him?
Yeah.
It's
Why?
just messy, right?
It totally is. So now we have this tension between Mike and Seath right out the gate, and it escalated fast. Mike and Seath started fighting regularly in person. On one of those altercations, it actually happened outside of Seth's house. Mike had shown up, and the two of them got into it. And Seth's mom heard a commotion outside, and when she saw Mike, she went outside and broke it up. As Mike walked away, he yelled, "I have a bullet, and it's got your name on it."
Oh, God.
Now, obviously, this is very serious.
Yeah.
But given the heated circumstances, I think a lot of parents probably could see this as just teenage drama. Ugly, yeah. Concerning, yes. But still the kind of thing that kind of burns itself out. As April rolled around, it seemed to have de escalated a bit, and Seth seemed to be a little less sad and more like himself. So on Sunday, April 17th, 2011, Seth left home to hang out with his good friend William Samalot. But as the evening rolled around, Seth never came home. His parents were immediately worried. This wasn't something Seth would do. Early Monday morning, when they still hadn't heard from Seth, Sonia went straight to the police department to report him missing. At first, the police thought maybe he had just run away and he just needed space because of everything that had been happening in his life. And sure, that was a possibility, but Seth always was in contact with his parents. Sonia told the police the last communication she had from Seth was a text Sunday night. He told her he was leaving William's house and was going to Amber's house to talk to her.
Oh,
But after
no.
that, yeah, after that, nothing. No more texts, no calls, nothing.
Oh, terrible.
So police started looking into the disappearance. They went to Amber's house and spoke with Amber. They also spoke with Kyle, but they came up empty-handed. And even then, investigators still thought this might be a case where Seth would just walk back through the front door. But the following morning, Tuesday morning, The investigators got the phone call that changed everything. It was Tracy Wright, Amber and Kyle's mother. And what she told them was so horrifying. Tracy said her son Kyle had come to her and confessed that he and a group of his friends had murdered Seth. Investigators rushed to the Wright residence, spoke with the family, and at that point, arrests started happening fast. They arrested Amber, Kyle, and two of their friends, Charlie, Ely, and Justin Soto, aka Roach. Tracy told the police that both Amber and Kyle had come home Monday with their friend Charlie, and they all seemed completely off. At the time, Tracy thought they were upset because Seth was reported missing, and they knew it. She assumed when the police first came to speak with Amber, she was scared to tell investigators how volatile the relationship between her and Seth had become. And that was why she seemed so paranoid and emotional. But the next morning, the energy in the house was still just wrong, and something was so off. And that's when Kyle approached her crying, and he was clearly overwhelmed. And that's when he told Tracy what had happened, and she called the police right away. So Amber, Kyle, Charlie, and Roach were all taken in and questioned. Kyle told the investigators everything. And that was in the weeks leading up to Seth's murder, it seemed like almost everyone in this group had some kind of issue with him. There was tension everywhere. Fights, grudges, jealousy, resentment, and probably more. And according to Kyle, the group had been talking about killing Seth for a while because so many people had animosity towards him. Then on that Sunday, April 17th, they had a more serious conversation about it. And Mike decided that shooting Seth would be the easiest way to do it. And at the time, Mike had gotten a .22 caliber gun. And the gun had apparently been given to him as a payment for something that he had done. And at the time, it was not registered to him. So he thought it couldn't be traced back to Mike or anyone in the group. So it seemed like the perfect weapon, right?
Okay. I'm just like curious though, is like now Mike's involved? Because I thought it was just like the four people.
That
Like all of a sudden now it's like he's too involved. But initially they just had said like Roach, Charlie, Amber, and
that
Kyle, right?
that were arrested.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry. Don't worry, Bevy. We'll
Okay.
get into it more. So Kyle said the biggest challenge for the group was figuring out how to get Seth alone with him without him being suspicious that something was going down. Because normally, if Seth thought there was even a chance he was walking into a fight, he'd bring a friend with him for backup. So they needed a way to get him alone in a secluded place to kill him. They decided since Mike and Roach had been staying at Charlie's house, this would be the perfect location. The plan was that Amber would lure Seth there by pretending she wanted to work things out and get back together with him. After texting him, she would wait outside for Seth to arrive. And when she saw him coming up the road, she was supposed to text Mike and Kyle so they could get ready. She'd bring him inside. And once he was inside, then Roach was to beat him up, stun him a bit so that he couldn't fight back, and then Mike would shoot him. So that was the plan. Cold, deliberate, and super terrifying and
Yeah.
organized for these teenagers.
Yeah. It's really scary. It's like making
Hmm.
me feel emotional actually.
Hmm.
And like I feel like I have a pit in my stomach just listening to it.
Yeah, it's brutal to hear just something so calculated and like matter of fact, right?
Yeah, you're talking about ending somebody's life and like to have everyone on board. It just feels like super sad.
Yeah. It's like
They're
a
so
extreme
young.
version, when your friends like when you were younger would like make a plan without you and you'd
Yeah.
find out about it and you're like so angry and like sick to your stomach. It almost feels like that, but to like an extreme level. Like everyone knows but you.
Yeah.
So, according to Kyle, the plan did not play out exactly like they wanted. For starters, Seth was suspicious about Amber's intentions right out the gate. And there's text messages between Amber and Seth between 8:12 p.m. and 9:08 p.m. that make that pretty obvious. So, Bevy, you're going to read Amber.
Okay, I'm
I'm
here
going
for
to
it.
read Seth, okay?
Okay, yeah. Okay. Hey, can you talk?
You said you need to talk?
Well, I kind of need to talk to you about us working things out.
What you mean?
Can you please call me like now?
Yeah, sure. So at that point, they had a conversation that they discussed Seth would come over to see her and they would work things out.
And then Amber texts again saying, hey, my friend Charlie is coming with. I've been telling her everything between me and you, and she's coming because I need her to help me through this. Is that okay? But don't tell anybody what's going on because I want to make sure we can work things out before anyone knows.
Amber, if you have me jumped, I will never give you the time of day. So if I get jumped, say goodbye, all right?
I swear you're not, Seth. I could never do that to you. I just want you and me back.
Okay.
I'm walking up the hill now. I am at the neighborhood road. Where are you?
Sorry, I didn't want Will to hear me, but stay around the corner where me and you fought. Just wait right there. I'll be there in a minute. So he's already like, what's going on here? Like, we had a pretty bad breakup, like, WTF, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as we can see, the lure itself worked. Seth showed up. But then Amber made a mistake. She forgot to text the others that she and Seth were approaching. So when they walked in the door, Roach was caught off guard and he froze. And instead of him attacking Seth right away and catching him off guard, he kind of just played it cool. And in that moment, the whole thing got awkward and pretty obvious because now Seth knew something fishy was going on and that Amber had lied to him. Now, at the time, Mike and Kyle had been lying in wait in Mike's bedroom. And when they realized Justin, aka Roach, didn't do what he was supposed to do, they rushed out. On the way, Kyle grabbed a piece of wood and attacked Seth. Kyle hit him in the head and stunned him long enough for Michael to come out and shoot him. Somehow, Seth managed to get up and run out of the front door, and he made it all the way to the front of the yard before Mike caught up to him. There, he tackled him and shot him again. And somehow, Bev, even then, Seth was still alive. He was badly injured, but still alive. At that point, Mike, Kyle, and Roach picked him up, dragged him back inside, and put him in the bathtub. Michael then told the rest of the group to leave the two of them alone in the bathroom. He said he wanted Seth to know who exactly was killing him. So at this point, Bev, I'm personally realizing like Mike is one evil son of a bitch.
Oh my God,
Like,
yeah.
who says that? Like, I want him to know.
Ugh.
Like, God, you're already doing like the worst thing. Like, ah. Anyways, Mike clearly has a strong kind of hold over these kids because they all listen to him.
Yeah, he's older than them, right?
Yeah. So while Mike and Seth were in the bathroom, the rest of the group started cleaning up and getting rid of evidence. While cleaning, they could hear Mike yelling and swearing at Seth. Then he shot him a couple more times, and at that point, Seth was dead. And if you thought that was the worst part of the case, it somehow gets even more disturbing, Bev. Because what this group did next was all about covering their tracks. So Mike
Ugh.
smashed both of Seth's kneecaps so that they could fit him into a sleeping bag. They then dragged him outside to the fire pit in the backyard and burned the sleeping bag with Seth still inside. The group drank around the bonfire that was incinerating Seth. But eventually everyone went to bed while Kyle managed the fire until about 2:30 a.m. First of all, I would think if I killed someone, even if I planned it, I think my adrenaline would be so high and I'd be freaking out. There is no way I'm going to bed.
I thought the exact same thing just now. Like,
Like,
how are you going to sleep
ridiculous.
after doing that to somebody?
Some evil people
Yeah,
do that. That's what it
that's so
is.
messed up.
So by the morning, Seth's body was badly burned and charred, but the fire hadn't fully destroyed his remains. So now they needed another plan to get rid of all this evidence. They collected what was left of his remains and put them into multiple large paint buckets, like, was it 5 gallons, I think, type buckets? Kyle then called his ex-stepfather for help. They needed transportation. So then they drove those buckets to a quarry in Ocala, Florida, where they disposed of the remainder of Seth's body.
Did like the ex-stepfather know what was happening? 'Cause like, what the fuck?
You know, to
Or
be
did,
honest, I couldn't find specifics on that. Like, what was the conversation? I don't
yeah,
know. But I can imagine he must have known something. Why would they be taking these paint buckets to a quarry to like sink to the bottom? Like, what could possibly be in there?
that's so fucked up
I know.
that this many people were involved in this and not one person was like, hey, this is so fucked up.
Let's not do this. Let's reconsider our plan.
Oh, God.
I know. So, after hearing what Kyle had to say and had what they believed was a fairly good understanding of what happened, the police went and spoke with all the others. Now, initially, Roach completely denied everything and anything related to Seth, and he did not waver from that. Like, it was unreal how, like, unwavering he was, to be honest. Now, they knew he was lying, but it wasn't going anywhere, so they went and spoke with Amber and Charlie. They told the exact same story, but that story completely distanced them from the crime, and their accounts were so similar that it seemed rehearsed. Now, this is what they said. So, Amber claimed that she had only been texting Seth because she genuinely wanted to
Ugh,
reconcile.
God.
She also said that
There's
Mike
that
had,
manipulation. I can't, like,
I know,
ugh.
I know, disgusting, right? She said that Mike had no idea that any of that was happening. Now, according to Amber and Charlie, when Seth got to the house, he sat down in like a sofa, like lazy boy kind of recliner chair. And out of nowhere, Kyle just started hitting him. She said Seth was stunned but got back up, and then Kyle told him to get the F out of my house. It was at that point, Amber said her and Charlie ran into the bedroom and locked themselves into the bathroom that was attached. From there, they claimed they heard another door fly open and then gunshots rang out. Then it went quiet. And then they heard Kyle say, "What did you just do?" And that's when Mike came into the bathroom and told Amber and Charlie, "If you say one word of that, or one word of what I did, or come out of this room, I will have 2 more bodies to get rid of." After that statement, Amber and Charlie claimed they stayed in the bathroom all night until around 11 or 12 the next morning. When they came out of the room, the house smelled strongly of bleach, and they didn't know what had happened to Seth. Now, once the investigators saw the text exchange between Seth and Amber, they really felt that Kyle was telling the truth and Amber and Charlie were lying. It appeared that everyone knew what they were going to be doing to Seth, and everyone knew what their role was in this murder. After speaking with Amber, Kyle, Charlie, and Roach, they were all charged with first-degree murder. Now, as you brought up earlier, Mike is not mentioned in those arrests, right?
Yeah.
And it was because he was on the run and they needed to find him. Now, while they're looking for Mike, they also continue their investigation. Police got search warrants and started looking for evidence in three specific places: Charlie's house, the quarry, and Mike's room at his grandmother's house. Now, in Mike's room at his grandma's house, investigators found an empty gun box and empty 22 caliber gun cartridge. So it was pretty good suspicion that something would be there because it was like his other residence, and that's what they found. Now, at Charlie's house it's really damning, to be honest. They found over 100 rounds of 22 caliber ammunition. They found a gun hidden in the floor vent. Crime scene investigators found blood evidence on the bathroom floor, the kitchen floor, the living room floor, the bathroom wall, and the kitchen ceiling. DNA analysis found Charlie's DNA in a mixture of blood found on the bathroom wall, Kyle and Seth's DNA in a mixture in the blood found on the living room floor, and Mike's DNA in the blood found on the kitchen ceiling light fixture. So surprisingly, Amber's DNA was like nowhere.
Right.
Weird, right? But
Yeah.
maybe also just lucky.
Well, I also feel like her role in this murder was maybe not necessarily like too physically involved when it came to killing Seth. Like she
Hmm.
lured him there mostly.
Yeah, that was her
So,
role.
yeah, I do feel like that kind of actually tracks.
Yeah. Now we head on over to the quarry. Initially, they found footprints and bucket imprints that led to the body of water where the remains ended up being located. This was exactly where Kyle said they would be. There were also drag marks leading towards the water. In addition, there were scrape marks on the moss that covered the rock wall of the quarry. On that same wall, they also found one of the lids to the 5-gallon paint buckets, as well as some human remains. So it almost sounds like a lid got caught or a piece of the bucket got caught and it might have tipped and dumped,
Oh
you know?
God.
So keep in mind that's on the rock wall leading down to the quarry.
Wow.
Now, within the remains that they found at the quarry, they also found a projectile in soft tissue next to 3 lumbar vertebrae. Now, when they got into the pond, they found 2 paint buckets filled with Seth's remains. Those buckets had been weighted down with cinder blocks. Now, it was pretty clear that the fire had damaged the remains so badly that 100% identification was next to impossible. But through extensive DNA collection process, investigators recovered just enough DNA to determine that the remains were 63,000 times more likely to be a descendant of Sonia and Scott Jackson's than a random person. So most likely it's Seth, right? So now the police have a ton of evidence against all of them involved. Unfortunately, it wasn't long before Mike was located. He had been staying with his ex-girlfriend, Kristen Williams, at her house, and he was arrested late Tuesday. So this investigation moved hella quick, Bev.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Weren't the other four, if I remember correctly, like weren't they arrested on the Monday?
they were also arrested Tuesday morning.
Oh my
So that,
gosh.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it moved so fast. Like the four were arrested Tuesday morning. Mike wasn't arrested till later Tuesday.
Wow, hey.
Yeah.
Well, like,
So,
thank God one of them at least had a guilty conscience, aka
right?
Kyle,
Thank you,
right?
Kyle. Yeah, kind
But
of.
still, like, well, like, I mean, it is thankful because then it was solved right away and there didn't have to, like, do too much investigation to figure out who done it, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
at least good, to get answers for Seth's family. But of course, it's like they're all savages. Like, the
Yeah,
fuck?
I know. So, Mike, as we know, he's like an undesirable character. Like
Yeah, yeah,
he's a little jerk.
yes.
And when he was brought into the interrogation room, he immediately asked for a lawyer. So He said nothing, but
Well, that makes sense for like who he is. Like he was the only one who like went on the run,
right?
like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
kind of cowardly overall. Like you're caught. You're definitely caught. Like, yeah, sure, you don't want a lawyer, but like I just feel like he's a coward.
Yeah.
Like you did a
With
terrible
like
thing
he's like a
and like
coward, but with an
somehow,
ego.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. Somehow he thinks like not saying anything is going to get him any benefit in this case. Like the evidence is substantial and like
Mhm.
someone already ratted on you.
Yeah.
So like maybe just like
Gosh.
own up to it.
Yeah. But if you don't, they still know what happened. So joke's on you, I guess. Well, even though he didn't say anything to the police, he had already said way too much while in hiding. The
To
whole
his
12-hour
ex-girlfriend.
hiding. Yes. So he told Kristen that he had shot a kid. He also told her brother James that he had shot a kid 8 times and busted his kneecaps in the bathtub, burned him, and put him in paint cans. He also told James's girlfriend what he had done. And that story matched what Kyle had told the police. So here we have Kyle telling the police this story, and then Mike on his own telling like somewhat of a stranger the exact same story. So they're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
I
Kyle
wouldn't even say
obviously is telling the
telling the
truth.
story. Like he's bragging.
Bragging.
Like
Yeah.
what a oh, I have some choice words for this guy, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say them because they're all just terrible. But
I know.
oh,
Yeah. He's horrible, obviously.
hmm.
Now, Mike included a detail not heard yet, and that was after Seth had been burned, he went and pulled every single one of his teeth out of his skull, one by one, with a set of pliers. I know. It gets worse, right?
I'm just like gonna cry. I can't even handle this case.
I know. Now, after interviewing all these witnesses and suspects, police ended up making one more arrest, and that was a man named James Haven. He was 37 years old. This was Kyle and Amber's stepdad, and he was charged with accessory after the fact for his role in driving to the quarry to dispose of Seth's remains.
So with that information, I think that answers my question. Like, he absolutely knew what he was doing. He was totally complicit in getting rid of the remains. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
especially as you hear about the horrible, horrible state of the quarry and like hearing what evidence was found there. Like, it was probably a pretty messy endeavor and probably pretty obvious as to like what was being done, unless he just sat in the car. But like, give me a break. Like, cement cylinder blocks were like put on these paint cans to like
Hmm.
drag him to the bottom of the quarry. Like, come on.
I know. Either he was like completely oblivious and like out to lunch and just didn't care to ask the
Hmm.
questions, or he knew and was an accessory. I
Yeah.
mean, he's an accessory either way because
Yeah.
he drove them, but
Even if you had a feeling that this was the case, right? Like,
right.
even if, I
Like
don't
adults are
care.
supposed to ask those questions, be like,
What the
oh,
fuck is going on
what are
here?
we taking to the quarry, kids?
Yeah. Why do you got five large paint cans?
Questionable. Looks like a murder to me, you know?
Wow.
So, in total, 6 people were arrested in relation to Seth's death. Now, to recap, 5 were charged with first-degree murder and 1 with accessory after the fact. Now, Charlie and Justin both pled guilty to first-degree murder, and James pled guilty to accessory after the fact. And honestly, that was probably the smartest legal move any of them made because the prosecution was going after the death penalty for everyone. And as we know, you plea, you at least can usually avoid the death penalty.
Yeah.
Also,
Is it
I have
called
to say,
Alfred's plea?
no.
Damn it. It was close.
No,
No, I
that.
think like there is something called the Alford's plea that has something
Oh
to
yeah.
do with, you've said it. Do you know what it
Yes,
is?
I do.
What is it? Tell me.
Basically, okay, when there's enough evidence, like that shows that you could be guilty
Yeah.
or could be the person who committed this crime.
Uh-huh.
Basically, they do the Alford plea because they recognize that the evidence is substantial against them, but
Yeah.
it's not admitting guilt. But I mean, like, let's
Okay.
be real. Why would an innocent plead the Alford plea?
Right.
I don't know. I would never plead that. Anyways,
Okay. Well,
we
this is not
digress.
that, but like, good to know. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, they pled guilty to first degree murder and just avoided the death penalty. So Charlie was given life in prison. In an appeal, she stated that her counsel was ineffective and she was actually granted a retrial. In her second trial, she pled guilty to only second degree murder and she was sentenced to 10 years in prison for that. Now, because of time served and good behavior, she was released in 2020, and this was immediately after her second trial. So they're like, time served later, which arguably I would say out of all of them, Charlie was probably the least
Involved,
involved. Yeah.
like
Like
in the
she,
actual murder.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess, but she also didn't do anything to stop it, and she was okay with the plan. I don't agree with that, but I guess we'll take it, right? Then Justin, aka Roach, he also pled guilty and he got life in prison and he's currently still incarcerated. Now, Kyle pled not guilty and he went to trial. He was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. Now, his attorney tried to appeal the sentence because of Kyle's age. At the time of the crime, he was only 16, but his sentence was upheld. So basically, they were trying to say he was just a young teenager. He shouldn't get life in prison. But it's like, that's the max that they could give someone of that age because they couldn't give him the death penalty. It was just, it's against the law to have a 16-year-old go on death row. So you can imagine Amber was a year younger, 15, virtually the same situation. She pled not guilty and she was sentenced to life in prison. Like I said, 15 can't get the death penalty, but Amber and her lawyers appealed her conviction, and Amber was granted a new trial. And the reason why was because the court determined that she had not been properly read her Miranda rights. However, in her second trial, she was found guilty of first-degree murder again, and for the second time was sentenced to life in prison.
Good.
Now, Mike, he pled not guilty. Now, the jury found him guilty and sentenced him to death because he was 18.
Yeah.
He does seem like the ringleader, so right on. His vote for the death penalty ended up being a 10-2 vote. And at sentencing, Michael said, "Your Honor, I don't want to die. Obviously, nobody wants to. I mean, but I'm not going to ask for a life sentence either. I'm not. Not for something I didn't do. And I don't want to die. I really don't. I was only 18 years old then.
Oh, shut the fuck up, Mike.
Like, you're an
Shut
adult
the
guy,
fuck up, Mike. God.
right?"
I'm sorry, but I don't think Seth wanted to die either. Like, fuck you. Honestly, that like fucking upsets me.
I know. Like, how dare you, like, basically ask for mercy when you so brutally murdered someone and, like, planned the shit out of it. As Bev
You
says,
broke
fuck
his
you,
kneecaps and like pulled
right?
out his teeth. Like, that's so messed up.
Yeah.
Rotten hell, bitch. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. Bev doesn't care. We don't care. He got what he deserves, to be honest.
Yeah, that's
So
like
after
terrible.
Mike's, it is. Now, this is just annoying. After Mike's sentence, there was a bit of a mess around in regards to Florida's death penalty laws. Now, Mike's sentence was reversed, or I should say changed, because the jury had the majority for him to be sentenced to death, but it was not unanimous.
Right. It was 10 to 2
So,
vote.
exactly. So the law had changed that it had to be unanimous. So they converted his death penalty to life in prison. So he kind of got off with, well, not a slap on the wrist, but like not death penalty. Let's be real. I think everyone wants life in prison over death penalty for the most part, right? But this is kind of good news. 6 years later, Florida's rules for death sentence changed again. And they made it so that at least 8 out of 12 jurors had to vote in favor of the death penalty in the cases they're on. And the accused would be given the death penalty. So Mike received a resentencing trial before another jury. And once again, the death penalty was on the table. But this jury unanimously recommended Mike be resentenced to death for his crime. And officially, he was back on death row. His appeal for the sentence was denied by the Florida Supreme Court. So, yay, he's back on death row. But, like, could you imagine going through that mess around as, like, Seth's family? Be like, yeah, he got the ultimate punishment, death row. Oh, what? Like, due to stupid laws, he's now only life sentence? And then back to it? Like, what a roller coaster they must be going through with that, hey?
Yeah, no kidding. Like,
Yeah.
hopefully this is just like the end of it for
Yeah.
them and it's like stays this way. Cause like, I just wouldn't want to keep hearing about my son's like murderer. I'd be like, I never want to hear that about that person ever again.
Right. Now, want to know, this has nothing really in relation to Seth's case,
Hmm.
but the reason why they actually changed it in regards to having an 8 to 12 jury vote for death
Yeah.
penalty is because there was a mass shooter in Florida. He killed 17 people. And when he went to trial, obviously the death penalty was on the table, but the jury voted like it was what I think 7 to 12 for the death penalty. But because they had just changed the law to being having to be unanimous, this mass shooter ended up only serving a life sentence for that crime, 17 people. So after that complete injustice happened, Florida was like, you know
They
what?
changed it. But like, what if they, you know, or if they voted 7 to 12, they still wouldn't make it. Like he would, like the shooter would still only get life in prison because it would have to be 8 out of 12.
I mean, you're so right. But it's easier, to convince 8 of 12 jurors for death row than unanimous,
That's
right?
ludicrous. I just have to say, like, that is so effing ludicrous that, like,
Hmm.
that mass shooter did not get the death penalty. Like, you killed 17 people. Like,
Yeah, I know.
that's
Now,
so crazy.
one
I
thing to
would
keep
like
it,
to know the details of that case because,
I
like,
should go
what?
look it up.
Yeah, you should go look it
Yeah,
up, Becky.
I should. I'm sorry I didn't. I should have foreseen that you would have wanted to know.
Yeah, I want to know, like, was there any, like, circumstance in that shooting that could lead jurors to, like, have sympathy or something? Like, come on.
I wonder.
Ugh.
But you,
Anyways,
you know what? I think that's a pretty fair like way to determine death row because some people just are so like they might think that
anti.
they might
Yeah,
think that person's guilty, but like no crime deserves the death sentence. So like
right.
at least if the like majority,
Hmm.
8 out of 12 think that they go on death row, they go on death row.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
Okay, you know what I've learned about myself doing all these podcasts? Prior to this, I honestly don't think I believed in death row.
Right.
I
Yeah.
believed in consequences, life sentences, but death row, I think I was like, maybe I don't see the need.
Well, I always kind of thought like, hey, if you murder people and we think murdering's wrong, we shouldn't do the same.
Yeah,
Like lead by example and like, yeah,
yeah,
you spend your life in prison, but you don't die. But
Hmm.
now, are you thinking like you see how savage fucking people are and you're like, no, dead.
Just dead.
Like,
Yeah.
you're done.
You're cooked.
Like, is that what you think now? Like, you kind of have a different, I'm being dramatic a little bit, but
Of
like,
course.
you kind of feel
Yeah,
like
after
people
doing
deserve death.
yeah, I guess so.
Hmm.
It's kind of I still have like mixed feelings a little bit about it, but there are some pretty fucked up cases that we've covered where you're like that person was so savagely brutal and had like such little disregard for human life
Yeah.
that yes, they would be the ones that I feel pretty secure that they receive the death penalty.
Yeah.
But then there are
Yeah.
some where I'm like obviously murder is just so bad, but like
There's
there are
degrees. There are degrees of murder. Like,
there
there are some
are
murders you have sympathy for. Like, I'll be honest. Now, this sounds terrible because I also have a lot of sympathy for Seth, but like,
of course.
when you were talking about Kyle and how he went to his mom, right?
Yeah.
And he was like crying and telling her, like, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. Um, because that's a young kid. Like, he's 16, right? Like,
Hmm.
I feel like there was a lot of emotions built up into like the his relationship like dissolving uh with Seth.
Hmm.
And like they were such good friends, but like he was kind of like I don't know if he was manipulated, but in a way, like a little bit, right? Like Amber shared all of her shit with him and like
Hmm.
told him all the bad stuff, whether it's true or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like there was just a lot going on with that, right?
Oh yeah.
And so he killed a good friend of his and like was okay with it. And just like how young he was and how impressionable kids of that age are, like I
Yeah.
almost feel like, do I think like I don't know. I just almost have sympathy for him because he was the one who came forward and like truly showed sadness and remorse for what he did. Like, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, he was virtually like the only one
Yeah.
who actually showed remorse. And like
Yeah.
I know he was part of like a real fucked up thing,
Yeah, totally
but
fucked up.
he like couldn't even handle like the guilt. He went to his mom like the next day and was like, I can't even hold this in anymore. Like, we did
Yeah.
something so bad. Like, I need to tell you.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
also, kudos to their mom who went straight to the cops. It's like,
Both her kids.
sorry,
Both
guys,
her kids.
both of them.
I know. So it's like I feel like more sympathy towards Kyle than I do like
Hmm.
Mike. Fuck that guy. Like I know he had issues growing up, but like fuck that guy. Like he went on the run, denied it, never really took accountability, then like was like, I don't want to die. Like shut up.
I know.
Like so zero remorse for that guy.
For
But
sure.
like Kyle, a little bit.
A little bit like, okay, sure,
Yeah.
life in prison,
But
not death
like
row, but
yeah.
Mike death row. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like there's degrees of
Exactly.
like murderers
Exactly.
and how terrible and evil they are.
Now, Bevy, the one thing that is regularly talked about this case is Amber. Or I shouldn't call her a thing. The one person specifically that's talked about a lot is Amber and what truly was her role. How manipulative was she in this situation?
Well, Becky, let me just flip my hair back. Okay. She was, I should have said forward because it kind of came forward. But, anyways, she lied to the cops about
Oh yeah.
what happened. Like, she is a freaking liar, manipulator, like, deceiver. You know what I mean? Like, she
Hmm.
knew what was going to happen to him.
Yeah, she
And
did.
she messaged him, convinced him to come with her. Like, now, do we think she was sexually assaulted by Seth? Like, do we? I don't know. Like, her character and who she is kind of seems manipulative and deceitful. And I almost think, like, no. And so if we go in that direction, let's just say she was lying about the sexual assault. Let's say that, okay?
Mm,
If she was, then she would have been so evil to have planted seeds to Kyle, planted seeds to Mike, and honestly changed their and all of Seth's friends and like completely changed their perception of him. And if not for her doing that, would they have even felt motivated to kill him?
right. The question is that the truly like initial catalyst for this crime?
Yeah. And the reason I think it might be actually that she was lying is solely because, like, she was the one trying to bring Seth back in. It seemed like she had control over the situation, right? Like she kept
Hmm.
talking to him. She was trying to pull him back in. She was kind of toying with him, like, we could get back together. Like, I
Yeah.
really think we could get back together, this type of thing, right? Like, it
Hmm.
seems almost like she's the one that's in control of the situation and not Seth. Like, so
Yeah.
to me, it just seems like the dynamics and everything, it seems like that might be more the case than that she was actually sexually assaulted. But uh, that's just like me reading into like their dynamic and who she was. So I think she had a lot to do with the murder of Seth. And that's just how I think of it. But, you know, I could be wrong. And either way, I still think she had a huge part in orchestrating it all. So, like,
Yeah.
getting him
Like
to the murder scene, right?
that was like their biggest hurdle. So
Yeah.
I would be inclined to agree with you, Becky.
Yeah.
Now, there is a whole Pierce Morgan interview with Amber in prison. And I would say go watch that to you, Bev, and anyone who's listening. Because if you think maybe we're being a bit dramatic about a 15-year-old girl, how can she manipulate these grown men, basically, into doing this? And go watch the interview. And she doesn't show like an ounce of remorse the whole time. She speaks very just matter of fact about it. And just something about her seems a little off. So if you do have question to her guilt
Or her
or
deceitfulness
her
or
deceitfulness
her
manipulation,
manipulation.
go watch this interview
Interesting.
and let us know what you think. It's not like explosive or anything like that, so don't, come at me with that. But just watching it, seeing her mannerisms, her just how she carries herself, it's not right.
Oh God,
Just not
Becky.
right, Bev.
Yeah, it just like, oof, just who she seems as a human being over what you like the
Exactly.
what you were able to just tell me there.
Hmm.
It just seems like, that's not it. I got
Yeah. So,
bad vibes from her. And
even though she was 15, I think she's in the right place in jail
yeah, right?
for life. For life.
But ultimately, I feel like really sad for Seth and his family.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, like his parents had bad vibes too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
Um,
they really loved Seth. Like you can totally tell. And in some of their interviews, you can see Seth's dad specifically is so angry with it. I mean, I'm not saying he shouldn't be. He's just so angry and like his soul, you can tell it's just hurting. Same with his mom, but they express it in very different ways.
mm,
And I just I just hope they find a way to be able to like get through life and not be completely miserable
that
because
they lost their
obviously,
baby. Like, oh man.
yeah, like I'm sure you can't imagine what it's like until you've been in that position. But, just for their own life, I hope they find a way to find some joy in what they have here on earth. But obviously, it won't ever take away that pain. So,
You know, like we say that all the time, but like I really feel it when I can really like imagine what it would be like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like really hard when we hear about like someone's son that's
Mm-hmm.
like really still young and like still like they're a baby. Because like I couldn't imagine like losing Coulson like before he even got as he was just finding himself like in like what 15 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I love him so much. And every day I only love him more. So like I just don't even know how people and parents lose their children or their loved ones. Like I just feel like really sad about it.
For sure. It's like the
Anyway,
last thing you expect when you have kids, right, is for them to be taken uh, early and in such a graphic way. So, like I said, I hope that they are able to find some joy in like what's left of their life here on Earth. But easier said than done, 100%.
yeah.
Now, what makes this case like so haunting is that it started off with something that looked somewhat painfully ordinary, like young kids in love, drama, gossip, tension, lies, like that, all that stuff can happen and it happens regularly. Teenage heartbreak, jealousy, hurt feelings, social media drama.
Mm-hmm.
But it escalated to such a high level that it became unnormal. So let this be a small learning experience to all parents out there that if you see some of these things going on with your kids, like step in as soon as you feel something's not good. And I'm not blaming anyone or saying Seth's parents didn't, but just like be aware.
No, I feel like this case is a good reminder that sometimes like it's easier to be the villain in your child's story than like a number at their funeral, you know? So like
100%.
yeah. So
Yeah,
maybe it is just like good to stop toxic relationships. Like we know too often how they end and how bad it can get. So like
exactly.
yeah.
Just be aware of what's going on in your children's life. I know they were, but don't be scared to step in because obviously it can save a life potentially. So,
Yeah.
all right, Bev, that is the case of Seath Jackson, the sad side case of Seath Jackson. And I just want to thank you for listening and being here. I love you hugely,
Love you hugely.
and we love all our listeners hugely. And till next time.
And just your weekly reminder to download our weekly episodes, follow us on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever streaming platform you listen to us on, and give us a follow on our social medias. You can find us at Luminol on the Wall. Can't wait till next week.